what's happening. So go down to the link and you can follow along with me a little bit. So I'm going to hit the high points in this video. The 9/11 attacks were planned, staged, and carried out according to the Global Guardian War Games. That was the cover for what happened between 8 o'clock and 10:30 on the 9/11 attacks. This is the backdrop. And my finger points to the House of Rothschild. Let me say it again, the House of Rothschild. The House of Rothschild has more wealth in the world than everybody else combined. This is the owner of the world's central banks. Everybody else is their little helpers like Morgan, Rockefeller here in the United States, the Warburgs over in on the European side of the equation. It's the global elites. You want to call it Zionism, it's not. That's the cover. These are just bad guys. The head of the snake that beguiles the world is the House of Rothschild. Enough said on that part. But all the lettered agencies are in on it. Justice Department, CIA, NSA, NORAD, FBI, Joint Chiefs, all of these guys are part of what's going on here. And what happened on 9/11 is going to lead us right into Project Black Star. And you get more information on that on my website, terrorlo3.com. So and this report was written in 2002 amid the swine 11. And Dr. Bill Deagle, there's information there. Some of these links will work, some won't. I apologize for that. But I'm not going to talk much about the New York theater. That's a giant rabbit hole. That's a mistake most 9/11 investigators make. Silverstein took possession of the Twin Towers July 24, 2001. Peter Peterson, he's the Blackstone Raytheon guy. He was part of the merger. He bought the World Trade Center 7 mortgage. At the same time, Hughes Raytheon is refitting 6 A-3 Skywarriors Fort Collins Loveland Airport. One of those is attached to the Vigilant Warrior war games put on by the Joint Chiefs. That is going to be launched. The Russians are going to identify it. It was launched from a carrier offshore, and it flew over New York, came south, and went in to eventually attack the Pentagon from about 2.5 miles up is what happened. So the New York theater, the New York attack 846 took place so that the government officials could call the Pentagon and ask for Navy support. They have jets on their carriers. They needed help. They were being attacked from the air, but Cheney and Rumsfeld couldn't allow that to happen because they're using the Global Guardian cover. So the Air Force, a lot of Navy personnel, Navy commanders are murdered. Army members are murdered. The people looking for the $2.3 trillion, they're murdered. But no airmen are hurt. The airmen are the ones carrying out the attacks. So if we want to look at this chart just a little bit, I'm going to cover this better in the Pentagon video on exactly what happened. Terry Cohen, I just uploaded her video. She ran out from one of the construction trailers and saw just smoke originally. Lloyd England, he says there's inside the building fires. There's no fire outside the Pentagon at 9:31:39 when the missile strike took place. This is what I call the column line 14 death corridor. This is a diagonal like a queen move in chess. The columns are spaced basically at 10-foot centers, creating a checkerboard. And this attack had to take place at a 45-degree angle. So the E-ring hole that's right here is about 300 feet, 300 to 330 feet from the C-ring hole on the far side. This wall, the E-ring and the C-ring wall, see this entire section of the Pentagon is under a single roof. And this place was refitted from this line right here, from section 4, wedge 1, left. This is all sprinkler protected. The part that is not sprinkler protected begins over here in wedge 2, where the defense intelligence assault took place. 7 defense intelligence officers were murdered right here. Navy commanders went into the strong room, concrete walls. This is the safest place in the whole Pentagon. Navy commanders are sleepers. They run right into there after they're called by the Lieutenant Governor of New York between the 2 attacks in New York. Okay, they run into this concrete building that's inside the Pentagon, and this is where submunition bomblet number 2 exploded to murder them all. Submunition bomblet number 1 killed this took place in the Army section. This is Army, Navy, and the Defense Intelligence. This section killed the people looking for the $2.3 trillion. The bookkeepers, budget analysts, the accountants, they were murdered. That report never came out because the people were murdered. This is my little picture of April Gallup that I interviewed. She walked right out this E-ring hole right here. And that is part of the timeline that I'm going to show you here in a minute. Alan Wallace crawled under his van. Alan Wallace, this was his first day. Mark Skipper, first day on the job. The construction was just completed here at Wedge 1. He was assigned to work out on the heliport building. His testimony says he moved the fire engine, that is foam 161. He moved it out because there were so many people crowded out here. There were 2 limousines. Secret Service was there. All kinds of dogs and everything. There were no bombs or anything. Everything was covered. But this is a missile strike. The A-3 Sky Warrior flies over the Pentagon at 9:31 through the 39, right through the single smoke plume. This is the original attack of what happened. Notice the E-ring walls, the roof is still standing, and it's going to continue standing until 10, 15, 16 exactly when the parapet began to fall. 45 minutes passed before that E-ring roof fell. That's between the missile strike. The first attack takes place at the Pentagon. Again, I'm going to get into that more clearly in the Pentagon video. But the initial attack was at 9:31:39, confirmed by the Terror Chronology FAA. That report was made at 9:32 by Danielle O'Brien, Dulles Airport Air Traffic Control. So the discrepancy in the documentation is because of the botched attack on the Pentagon. And the problem is the lettered agencies are involved. Most of the FBI was sent out to California. They were out of position, but Special Agent Chris Combs, former New York Fire Department guy, his friend Chief Schwartz, they took over the command here and began filing false reports in order to control this fire, bring down the E-ring roof. They brought a crane in to destroy the roof from the sprinkler protected area. And these guys are guilty of murder, definitely. These are the people that we should be going after. Don't go after the big chickens. Go after the little guys that filed the false reports. It's in the government documentation. So there's tons and tons of links here. Here's another map of the assault. It shows the Army clock, the Navy clock. This shows the second attack time, 9:36:27. That's when the A-3 Sky Warrior returned. It made a circle around right over the White House. It came around. Plenty of witnesses saw it. It attacked from north of Sitco, 9:36:27, crashed against the wall, and it crashed right into the concrete slab of the second story. And so that's why the engine parts from the Pratt & Whitney engines from the Navy jet that went down were found in the Pentagon. One fell outside. So this is a picture of the single smoke plume at 9:31:39. Lloyd England is out here in the road. Terry Cohen is running to the hole. Mark Skipper is running Alan Wallace are running underneath their vehicles. They were deaf from the explosion, the initial explosion. The fire from the 9:36:27 attack ran them out from underneath their vehicles. So they never were able to put it together. There were 2 attacks. They thought all this happened in at the first attack. So I want to show you briefly. I'm giving you guys, YouTubers and newsletter subscribers, well, newsletter subscribers already have the link to my book, Exposing the Cheney-Rumsfeld Black Operation. This is a 100-point timeline. Links are activated. You can run your own investigation. No, I've done 2-hour radio shows and not got through this timeline. But this will give you more and more information so that you can run your own 9/11 investigation. For example, Flight 93. I don't know if I can click on this here. I didn't prepare for that. But Flight 93, the picture was taken from the satellite. That was on April the 20th, 1994. And the ditch was already there. And Flight 93 landed at Cleveland. It landed in Cleveland with Flight 175. Now, Flight 77 never took off. Flight 77 does not even exist. It is, here's the link. Let me see if this is going to pop up for me. I'd like to show you this, that gives you an idea of the research materials that you have here. I never use Explorer. Okay, the evidence that the Flight AA-11 and 77 does not even exist. So you can go through the data yourself, and I've taken screenshots. I have a post on it, and the data has been altered American Airlines is part of the conspiracy of what's going on here. The tail number N644AA has never been assigned. It's only mentioned once, and the taxi times and things are all zeros because all those flights were consolidated. That's a fact. So the Cheney-Rumsfeld Black Operation, that is the title of this book, The 9/11 Truth, the Cheney-Rumsfeld Black Operation. Cheney and Rumsfeld worked together. They're CFR directors and Council on Foreign Relations. That's the shadow government of the United States. These guys worked together all the way back to Gerald Ford. And every year for a few days up to a week, they would meet. Unbeknownst to everybody else, their families didn't even know where they went. This was all about continuity of government exercises. Continuity of government, if you go down to the timeline, that's chapter 11, you'll see that at 950 is whenever, let me see if I can find it. 950, oh, here's the Shanksville picture I wanted to show you. Right here, this ditch is April 20th, 1994. This satellite image was taken, and this is what they say is the wing print of Flight 93. Actually, there was an 8-mile debris field from a Global Guardian Wargame jet that crashed between Shanksville and New Baltimore. And you can Google that, and there's plenty of links where you guys can run your own investigation and see that the entire cover story for 9/11 is just ridiculous. The idea that 19 bearded jihadist radicals could carry out 9/11 and falsify all this documentation is just ridiculous. American people are delusional. They're being controlled by deluding influence, is my conclusion. As I have shown this information. Look, this is a 100-ton jetliner, guys. You see a 100-ton jetliner anywhere? These people have their backs to the empty hole. There's nothing there in Shanksville. I apologize to anybody that thinks, look, this is a little 4-foot deep ditch. They dumped garbage in here and set it on fire. All of the evidence from Shanksville can fit in the back of one little pickup truck. And they're trying to pass that off as a 100-ton jetliner. Well, what I was getting at earlier, the Cheney-Rumsfeld Black Operation, this is a little bitty black hole in the C-ring wall. Defense Intelligence Office is right inside here. 45-degree angle over the E-ring wall. It's just 220 feet. And they say a 175-foot jetliner crashed there. Absolutely impossible. The cover story is absolutely impossible. So here's the picture. Here's Army, here's Navy. This is the wall still standing. So this picture was taken before 10:15. But this fire is going to rage on for 3 days. There's one wave of people that leave the Pentagon, and then everybody that's trying to leave is stopped because Cheney and Rumsfeld are murdering the people looking for the $2.3 trillion. They're murdering commanders that are trying to launch the Navy jets from the local carriers. They're murdering the defense intelligence people that would solve this case. This is a story of people being put into harm's way to be murdered, and the bad guys being told what's happening and taken out of harm's way. And this is a really, really great book. It took a long time to do this research, 5 years. But I've got people from the Arden County Board, Arden County Medical Examiner. This is what I want to show you at 10:15. I'm sorry, at 10:50 of what happened here. The continuity of government. It's 9:50. That's it. Right here. Counterterrorism czar Richard Clark gives go for coordinator